Welcome to the bold analysis. Ladies and gentlemen, Raila Odinga went to America on Saturday. William Ruto, after Madaraka Day, took his flight to America to attend the US Africa Leaders Summit. Alongside, there is also another ULEAD summit going on in Arusha. Yes. I have listened to the opening remarks by Barack Obama. And Barack Obama, while referring to the story of Nelly Cheboy, is asking President Ruto that create conducive environment for the uptake to stir up innovations and inventions in technology and climate interventions, simply because this is what shall attract funding from American billionaires. This beautiful story of Nelly has been very interesting for me when you see her hanging with the mother in New York, and their story is very deep. For those who've been following, that story is deep. She has narrated the way they didn't have, they grew up at a very uncomfortable conditions back home. Some of us share those stories, such backgrounds, such humble backgrounds. And Obama picked up that saying that it's heartwarming to see that getting, I need to say, Nelly Cheboy was won the CNN Hero of the Year. I think CNN Hero of the Year. What she did is a computer engineering student. Is a computer engineer from Chicago, but came back up and home and established computer labs for school-going children in Mogotio, Rift Valley. So that's a project that really warmed hearts, and it's a project that is supposed to help the school-going children to integrate the CBC learning with the IT, with the computer knowledge, which okay, that's quite a very interesting session, very interesting project. Obama is saying that Africa, Kenya, and all the other 55 countries must rise and know that there is funding, but the only impediment is the governance structures back home. Do they breathe life? Is investment on research and innovation? What is that? After the opening sessions, they were headed over to plenary, which was attended by both Raila and Ruto-Raila, Ruto and other African leaders. I have a very wild thought on this. I shared it in my community. If America and these organizations means well for Africa, why don't we hold this session, this summit in Addis Ababa here? Because what is the rationale of 55 African heads of state spending millions to go and meet one man in Washington? Why don't America come to Africa and hold this in Africa? And someone shared with me a very interesting insight. I read that article that the first United Nations Security Council meeting that was held in Africa outside New York was in 1972 in Addis Ababa, and that was the second time it was being done in outside New York, because prior to the one in Africa, one was also held in Paris. That was the only place it had been done before that 1972. And by that time, the lobby for even it to come to Africa was big. Of course, that was United Nations Security Council. It's not close to this. This one, US African Leaders Summit, was started in 2014 by Barack Obama. Yes, so Barack Obama is the founder. And when Nani took over, who is this guy? When Trump took over, Trump was anti-Obama, so he did not adopt Obama's policies and bit. US lacked bit of that continuity, and that's where they lost bit of it. And then I've always I'm just making this because you mean well for Africa. I feel if these summits can be held here, then the billionaires will have a personal feel of the Kenyan problems or African challenges and easily interact with what is here. The demand for conducive environment and stability in the African continent is at the center of that summit, even though that is wrapped in a very beautiful bag that carries American interest. It carries other interest. It's always been seen as that, it's this, but this is something that is here. So the good news for Kenya is there is that funding that we just need to sort our issues back here. We lay down the structures, and as we've been analyzing, making very observation from the donor funding world, there's good money coming for climate interventions. So, however, this summit does not only look at their African interest, as is been said. It has been packaged as Africa, Africa, Africa. No, if it is Africa, tungefanya hiyo summit hapa. If it is purely kwamba we want to help Africa, we want to do Africa, tungefanya hiyo summit hapa, here in Addis Ababa, here. But because it's a two-way, point out three things that is at stake. GMO flow. GMO flow. And it just started. In fact, I can tell you that lifting of the GMO, Kenya was just used as a launch pad. Kenya was just a launch pad. And this will be a project that is just piloted here, and it will be taken, tried to lobby in all the other African countries. Now that they're together, it's only the only African, I think, president that had been announced he was not going there was Ramaphosa, the South African president, because he felt insecure. You know, when you go away, he even felt that he can be impeached when he's outside the country because of that cash scandal that was going on there. So he did not go because he felt, right, and I already go impeached. So this GMO issue is it's a very big deal for America. And Kenya has been having this discussion of whether we accept, to what extent we have legislation, and the pros and cons, the discussion we've ever had. And I want to believe that when this, apart from what can be splashed in the New York Times and Kenyan newspapers and in the photos that we splashed in social media, the secret bilateral talks will center around the GMO discussion. Secondly, I also see Ruto likely pushed to the wall with Raila, locked in one room to speak and decide on how they are going to run government. Have you realized that there's no photos of Raila in US? Where is he? Have you realized that pictures yonekani? Kama umeshare picture, because he flew on Saturday, the government delegation led by Foreign Affairs CS Mutua and Correo Sionye, the PS. I've also seen Mwingi Mutuse and Laikipia women rep, I think Jane Kagiri or someone there. We've seen the photos. But since Raila left, there was only a short video of Raila leaving airport here. But since the VK US, we've not seen any photo anywhere. That means there is engagement with official, and there is more to what really catches the eye. There is a likelihood that Raila and William Ruto will meet and they will be pushed to the corner that, look here, you need to sort out the issue. Lastly, US America Leaders Summit is going to come up with altercations or alterations on our foreign policy. I will not expand on that, but I just want to explain the problem statement that America had. I had analyzed there about the US, is it US China Commission, Economic Commission on China, and they were accusing China that having posed to Africa as a helping friend, as the best borrower, but they are only advancing the military agenda. In fact, that report said that they're establishing some military base somewhere in the coastal region. And that was just China coming out to say that America is using the old Cold War books to gain investment mileage in the African continent. So this is also going to be at the center of that summit. Ladies and gentlemen, let's meet tomorrow. Thank you.